Hello and welcome to Richmond Kickers Weekly. My name is Daryl Grove and I'm joined by a man who received a lot of sympathetic head nods on Friday evening. His name is Taylor Rockwell.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, that is true. We went to the Screaming Eagles tailgate before the DC United game.
Yes.
And the few people that engaged me in conversation about the Richmond Kickers, it always ended with, so the Kickers, what's going on? And then it was a lot of that, and I was like, well, it's this, and you just get that sort of nod, like, yeah, I remember what it's like when our team was dead last in the standings.
Right, because DC had a run kind of like this, right? But they also weirdly won the US Open Cup that year.
I don't think the Kickers are going to do that, since that folds into the losing streak, or the winless streak.
Yeah, North Carolina knocked us out, right?
Maybe we get their spot, we take it back.
Speaking of, so we were in DC this weekend for the live show, which we enjoyed, but that meant that we couldn't go to City Stadium to see the Kickers take on North Texas SC. If we had been there, we would have seen the Kickers' 8th game in a row without a win. 8th USL League One game in a row without a win. And 6 games now without a goal.
Mm-hmm. But that didn't mean that we didn't care. Because after the show on Saturday, we were out to dinner, and you and I were sitting near enough to each other that we could sort of check the score midway through the game, and it was 2-0 in like the 58th minute, and I started to scroll back to see when did this happen? Like maybe it was late on. Maybe the Kickers have fought hard. Instead, it was 2 goals inside the first 14 minutes?
Yes,
that was pretty much all she wrote from there.
The 10th and the 14th.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, so this wasn't a beating, right? It's not like a 4-0 win. But I feel like when you concede 2 goals in the first 15 minutes, the game's weirdly over. So it's like a beating where they stop beating us. Stop is already dead.
I mean, look at the way they celebrate, they being North Texas, celebrate those first 2 goals. And celebrate is a loose term for what they do, if anything, because it's sort of a group huddle high fives, but it's very much that's what we're supposed to do. They also, I believe, have already since played another game. I think they've had a midweek game too, North Texas have. So they sort of maybe just had a lot going on.
And to be fair, I don't think that's about they're blasé about scoring against the Kickers. I think North Texas are just the class of the league, and they're kind of just expect to score whomever they play. I really do feel like they're kind of North Texas in League One as Zod, and we should all kneel before him.
All right. I mean, yes, although that's slightly distressing because I don't know who the Superman is in this situation, so maybe they just end up winning.
I mean, yeah, Zod's going to win this time. Should we break down those 2 North Texas goals? Because it's interesting from a Kicker's perspective. There's some defensive mistakes that we can talk about, but there's also North Texas kind of did to the Kickers what the Kickers want to be doing to other teams.
I mean, literally what they want to be doing, yes.
Right, they passed the ball around the back, they possessed it, but then they broke free out of the back and then went up a gear and had kind of devastating-ish possession once they crossed the halfway line.
I mean, and strangely it is, and it starts from a Richmond Kickers throw-in. They put it out of bounds, there was an injury, but from there, North Texas possessed from left center back to goalkeeper to right center back to goalkeeper to left center back. They move it back and forth.
Which we've seen the Kickers do many, many times.
We have.
Yeah.
But North Texas don't do it necessarily quickly, but they also don't do it slowly. Okay. They're doing it enough that...
So medium?
Yeah, basically. They're keeping the ball moving, but it's not a, we're going to do it really fast and try to pull you out completely. It's more of a, we're going to slowly pull you out of position, and eventually one of your players will maybe over-pursue a little bit. Somebody else will have to then fill that space, and eventually what happens is the Kickers... I think Dennis Chin thinks he can make a play on the ball in the middle. He gets turned. Yeah, the ball goes out to the...
Jata does well to turn him and just spray it out to the right back, Jorge Almaga.
Yeah, and then that's where it really starts to break down because Bame comes charging out. I think he thinks maybe he'll be able to make a play on this ball.
He misjudged that by about a foot, right?
Yes, and as soon as he misjudges it, now he's out of position. There's a hole in the middle. Now the Kickers are more spread out than they would like to be, obviously, and that's when North Texas are able to advance that ball a bit more directly.
Would you agree this is all about Almaga's acceleration?
Yes.
Not just acceleration, but his decision, here's the mistake, Bame's overcommitted, I've got a chance to move this whole thing forward and progress the ball over the halfway line. Because he kind of accelerates inside with the ball, and suddenly, the Kickers are scrambling because that sort of Bame and Almaga matchup is completely broken. Bame's been left in the dust.
And
the City Stadium dust.
This is a very depressing analogy to have to draw, but it reminds me of when Derek Etienne's dad, Derek Etienne Jr.'s dad, when he was
Derek Etienne Sr., I believe we would call him.
That would be the one. When he and his brother were the coaches
Darryl
of my... You got it. There you go. Not spelled quite the same as yours. I think he had a double R in there. Still a Y and an L. But when they would play 5v2 with us and they were just so clearly better that it was you want the ball? you want the ball, and then you go make a play on it, and they just beat you really quickly. That's a little bit what this feels like, because it's North Texas. That's what I mean when I say they're not necessarily playing slow or fast, but it's a little bit of like bait ball almost, of like, you want it? Look, our goalkeeper has the ball. You never know what's going to happen when a goalkeeper has it. And then when the kickers do try to play, that's when you see North Texas kind of turn it on and have that technical precision. And
away goes Almaguer. Yep. I think he plays it into Pepe, who's back. He signed the homegrown contract with FC Dallas, but he's come back on loan to North Texas.
Yep.
Can't say I was happy to see him in the starting lineup because he's so very dangerous.
Yep.
But he just comes short and has a nice little layoff to, I believe, Damas, the dangerous winger who caused us trouble before.
Yes, and then almost causes us trouble again here because there's a quick 1-2. And Damas, I think, is the intended recipient of the ball.
With Rodriguez,
I think I can't tell if like what goes wrong here, if he means to leave it, or I don't think he means to leave it, but if he's like trying to kind of like throw the defender off or something. But either way, he kind of overruns the ball, it goes behind him, and it seems like for the moment the kickers can now break and catch North Texas.
It really feels like a counter-attacking opportunity. I'm really disappointed that the kickers weren't first to the ball here, and I think that might be representative of a sort of midfield combativeness problem, that rather than the kickers capitalising on this like misconnection between Rodriguez and Damas, instead it's Thomas Roberts, their sort of their midfielder, who just comes strolling through, picks up the ball, dribbles 10 yards forward, shoots, scores.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, I'm not trying to be pedantic just to make the point. Like, I think it's more like 30 yards. Like, he dribbles for a ways here.
Yeah.
And I say that only just to say that that's more sort of like damning for the Richmond kickers, that there's this one midfielder who picks up the ball in a fairly like chaotic state. It's like an improvised state that he finds himself in possession.
He makes a brave decision to come through and just take the ball, right?
But once he does, he can kind of do what he wants. He is dictating the play at this point. It's not like he's won the ball back, but he's taken a heavy touch, and now he has to over pursue because he might lose it here, and he has to take a touch, and then he has to. It's like as soon as he kind of gets away from that initial amount of pressure, he's kind of able to do whatever he wants because the kickers then fail to respond. And I think, if you don't mind, this is like a good example of how the kickers are sort of reacting to things because they're trying to figure out what to do in that moment.
Yeah.
Whereas this is North Texas having all the rotations down, and they're like, oh, if it comes loose, then I'm going to go there. Then this person's going to be there.
So I agree with that, and I want to get into that. But I also think it's a good example of Roberts and North Texas's attitude being confident and proactive, because I can see if it was on the other side of the ball, if there's a loose ball, that the kickers might back off, and someone like Roberts, who's sort of a deep line midfielder,
I just wheeled away from Daryl in my chair to emphasize the backing offense,
because you might just think, okay, there's a possible counterattack, we should like get ready for that, but instead Roberts is like, no, this is my opportunity to charge through and take the ball and cause them some damage. And I think there's a real difference in essentially confidence of a team that keeps winning versus a team that keeps losing.
Wait, are you saying Thomas Roberts was confident?
He sure was.
What could have given you that impression, aside from when he then dribbles at the kicker's defense?
Right.
Kind of feints to the right, cuts to the left, and has a shot from, 20, 25 yards out?
Yeah, it's right top of the box, just outside, right?
To the back corner. It's a lovely finish, but it's not helped by the defending, because even Magales, who I think had a very rough, at least start to the game, I'm not going to lie, I did not watch much past this, because I was just sort of sad.
He got yelled at by Maxi Rodriguez when Rodriguez had to stop a counterattack because of a Magales giveaway.
And it was something...
earlier on.
Yeah, I'm going to pause there for a moment just to say that, that's something we've seen a lot this season, is Maxi Rodriguez having to commit. It's after he has to commit a professional foul because Magales has given up possession and North Texas are there for the counterattack. That's a symptom we've seen of the kickers sort of having to scramble to deal with things. Here, I guess Magales, to his credit, doesn't really scramble that much, in the sense that he kind of just backs off.
Maybe he should have scrambled a little more.
Yeah, and instead gives space, and I think is so focused on not getting beat for pace that he then is just sort of, it's what we've talked about before, when you're out wide, you're worried about the winger being a little bit pacier than you, so you maybe give yourself a little bit of a cushion, and if they cross, then they cross, but at least you didn't get beat wide open. It almost looks like that's what Magales is doing here. Like, all right, if you want to shoot from distance, you can shoot, but you're not going to beat me.
Well, isn't it also that Roberts is dribbling to the right? It's like diagonal right, kind of, and it looks like Magales just sets himself defensively to not let that happen. So Roberts is like, all right, if you're going to set yourself there, I'm just going to cut back across you the other way, and I'm going to shoot with my left foot. And I think the mistake for me here is Magales should know that Roberts is left-footed, right? Even if he's never seen him play before, he's seen him play for 10 minutes at this point. Like, you can tell everything he does is predominantly left-footed, right? Even the dribble, even though he's going to the right, he's using mostly his left foot, right? So for him to cut back across means he's on his dominant foot and wide open for a shot.
Yes, but it's also, like, in my mind, a little bit more upsetting, because it's almost like North Texas, like bridge the streams of two different realities in the sense that like when this 1-2 happens,
it's a very sci-fi episode.
I mean, Damas, when he misses that controlling that ball, he has made this 1-2. Magalhaes is the one you spotted this one. Magalhaes is supposed to be marking him and has kind of bit on the 1-2 and is out of position. And basically Damas is going into the space where Roberts ends up going. So I almost feel like Damas is supposed to get that ball, take a touch. He's supposed to shoot from distance and score in the back corner.
Yeah.
And then things go awry. And then the timeline is corrected because Roberts just does exactly what Damas was about to do.
And if we're looking at repetitive things, Magalhaes does the same thing to Damas on the wing.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? He's when there's the initial break after Pepe lays.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He's lost it here. Yeah. Because then if Damas, I think, is able to get that touch and take it just one touch towards goal, then he is shooting in the exact spot that Roberts ends up shooting from because Magalhaes is over pursued. All
right. It is worth mentioning that Roberts is a really high quality player, right? This is a kid who went and played with or trained with Bayern Munich when Chris Richards and Brandon Savagna from FC Dallas did. I'm saying this just to not to excuse the kickers conceding to him. Essentially, remember the name. Remember the name Thomas Roberts because you'll probably see him playing for FC Dallas within a year.
/ being a pirate?
Is my guess.
Come on.
The Dread Pirate Roberts.
I mentioned this off air to Daryl and he kind of gave me a weird look. I'm just saying, Thomas Roberts sounds like he should be a pirate.
Well, he should be the Dread Passer Roberts.
He should be. I don't know if he takes the corner for the second goal for North Texas, but if so,
I think it's Rodriguez.
The Dread Passer Roberts.
One of the Rodriguez brothers takes it.
All right. Yeah. Well, then all North Texas is just the Dread Passers.
So do you want to talk about that corner 4 minutes later?
I suppose we must.
It weirdly comes from a kicker's corner.
It does.
North Texas counter, win their own corner.
It's a lot of parallels here of North Texas doing things the kickers are trying to do. In this case, it's executing a set piece.
It sure is. So, there's been a lot of frustration from, say, the Red Army about the kickers taking a lot of short corners. Yep. This is an example of North Texas taking a traditional lofted corner, but having a very clever set play within it that gets Callum Montgomery free. That's why he's basically wide open to score this header off the corner. I think there's a late challenge from, I want to say, Rodriguez, but that's only because he had to scramble over because Montgomery had broken free in the box. It's a design play to make that happen.
It is. I think it's a late half challenge from Rodriguez and a late half challenge from Magalhaes because it's Magalhaes who is supposed to be with Montgomery when this sequence begins.
I hope Ivan Magalhaes doesn't listen to this show. I mean, he didn't have a good 15 minutes of defending.
I'm guessing we're not the first ones to say this to him, would be my guess, if he is listening. But, he is supposed to be marking Montgomery here. You can tell the kickers, it's 3 around the penalty spot. Kickers have 3 to defend.
3v3 man marking, right?
Yeah. And it's just North Texas send 2 runners back across goal.
Yep,
Montgomery
just
gets
so
past them.
It's Jatta and it's Evans.
Yes. Yeah. And basically the kickers are so focused on staying with their marks. I think it's Connor Shinosky is the one who, in trying to track his runner, runs basically into Magalhaes. They sort of have to figure out which way, who's going to go where. It's a little bit Three Stooges for a second. And that's kind of all it takes for Montgomery to be yards open. He's probably 5 yards wide open off of a corner. Not a great sign.
So what was the plan from Texas? Was it just that Jatta and Evans go this way and we take our markers with us and Montgomery goes the other way, but the real target is Montgomery? So it was kind of they were just deception runs from Jatta and Evans? Or was the plan to screen Magalhaes so that Montgomery could lose his marker? Or is it both?
I mean, probably both, but I think given that the corner is put on Montgomery's head, I mean, it's a great finish. It's a great headed finish from distance, but it speaks how wide open he is that when he gets there, he's able to basically shape up, wait a second, makes a cup of tea, then he goes up in the air, gets ahead to it, puts it in.
Which takes longer to do in the United States.
It really does. Yeah. No, it's.
Did you know this electric water kettles take longer to boil in the US than in the UK?
I did not. Is that a real thing?
Because there's a lower voltage here. And all English people get really frustrated waiting for the kettle to boil in the United States.
Wow. All right. That's good to know. I did not know that. And it also distracted me from going down a My Cousin Vinny reference rabbit hole. So it's very good we didn't do that.
It saved you and our listeners.
You really did. Although, I feel like it would definitely be more pleasant to talk about My Cousin Vinny than the result of this game.
It would. But at least it didn't get worse. It finished 2-0.
There's so many unintentional nicknames for the kicker season in this show. There's been we should probably also mention is one you said, and then at least it didn't get worse. Perfect.
So the standings. The USL League One standings, 10 teams.
Yep.
Richmond Kickers are in 10th place. They have 12 points, 1 point behind Orlando City B, but having played 2 games fewer.
So there's that.
The big news is this coming Saturday at City Stadium, the visitors are Orlando City B. We've highlighted a lot of games as this is the game where the kickers need to turn it around.
Yep.
I mean, this is the game where the kickers can get off the bottom of the table with a win against Orlando City B. But they need to score a goal, which they haven't done in 6 games.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that would be
Can't win
lovely.
without a goal, I'm pretty sure.
And I do think, I said this to you off air, and I would say it here, that it's also the frustrating situation the Kickers are in at this point, that even if they do beat Orlando City, U23s is what they're officially listed as.
Are they really?
Which, I don't know if they changed that. I checked it only because
That's not accurate.
Toronto FC 2 are still Toronto FC 2, but Google has it as the Orlando City
Okay,
U23s.
Google's not the... I mean, I'm on the USL League One website, and it's Orlando City B. I would trust that more than Google.
That's what Yahoo wants you to think, Daryl. You don't know. You don't know.
We should ask Jeeves, see what he calls them.
But until we do that, I will say that this game, even if the Kickers win 2-1 or 1-0, it's great they've scored. They've broken that streak.
I'll be excited just because it's been so rough the last few weeks.
But I will be like momentarily happy they've scored, but then it still goes back to so the last place team is now not the last place team because they beat the second bottom team.
I think you're harder to please than I am. I will take any crumb of happiness.
I mean, I think given 8 league games without a win, last goal was May 22nd, 6 games without a goal, I think I'm forgiven for being a little bit pessimistic about things right now.
I'm just saying, if they win, enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair.
So fingers crossed for a Kickers win at City Stadium this coming Saturday.
That is fair.
All right.
Cross those fingers.
All right, Taylor. Well, should we wrap this up?
I suppose we should.
All right. Well, thank you for talking Richmond Kickers with me today. Best of luck to the Kickers this weekend. I feel like a little bit of luck would, maybe help them towards a win.
Is that what's been missing?
I mean, maybe it is. So let's have the Red Army who have kept the faith. Let's have them play us out.